The ship arrived during the night when most of the town was asleep. Zara watched from her observation post as the strange craft settled gently in the meadow outside the human settlement. Her violet eyes widened with both fear and curiosity. This was her first solo mission to study humans, and now she would have to report an unauthorized landing. Zara belonged to the Lyrians, a species that had observed Earth for centuries without revealing themselves. Her tall, slender form and blue-tinted skin would immediately mark her as non-human, which was why she always worked at night. Her pointed ears picked up sounds no human could hear, while her enhanced vision allowed her to see clearly in darkness. The landing ship was not Lyrian, Zara knew. This immediately. Its design was unfamiliar, sleek and black, absorbing all light around it. She activated her communication device, sending an urgent message to her supervisor. Unknown vessel has landed near the human settlement. Awaiting instructions. Reply came quickly. Maintain observation. Do not engage. Document. All activities are aside, wishing for more exciting orders. Her 3 years on Earth had been filled with routine data collection about human behavior patterns and technology. She longed for actual interaction, but Lyrian protocols strictly forbade contact movement caught her attention. A hatch opened in the side of the mysterious ship. A figure emerged, tall like Lyrians, but with reddish skin and curved horns protruding from its head. Zara froze, recognizing the species from her training Drakari. The Drakari were known throughout the galaxy as traitors and sometimes raiders. Their presence on Earth violated numerous interplanetary agreements. Zara watched as 3 more Drakari exited the ship. All carried weapons. Zara sent another urgent message, confirmed Drakari presence, 4 individuals, armed request, immediate instructions. This time the response took longer. When it came, Zara could hardly believe it. Lyrian command cannot send support for 36 Earth hours. Maintain distance but gather intelligence on Drakari purpose. Your safety is priority. 36 hours. Zara felt her hearts racing in her chest. The Drakari could cause untold damage in that time, especially if they encountered humans. Her orders were clear, but the thought of waiting while potential harm came to the unknowing town troubled her deeply. The Drakari moved with purpose, setting up equipment around their ship. One device Zara recognized as an atmospheric sampler, while others seemed designed for soil analysis. They were conducting a survey. But why she watched for hours as they worked methodically, occasionally consulting data on wrist-mounted devices. Dawn approached. Zara would need to retreat to her hidden shelter soon as daylight made her too visible. Even with her adaptive clothing that helped her blend into shadows, she could not risk being seen in daylight. As she prepared to withdraw, the Drakari suddenly stiffened, alert to something. Zara followed their gaze and her heart sank. A human woman was approaching the meadow. Zara recognized her as Olivia Carter, who often walked this path early mornings collecting plants. Olivia had not spotted the ship or aliens yet, but would soon enter the clearing. The Drakari raised their weapons without conscious thought. Zara moved. Her training told her to remain hidden, but something stronger propelled her forward. She activated her emergency camouflage, which would hide her alien features for a short time, making her appear human, though the energy drain would leave her weakened. She intercepted Olivia at the edge of the trees. "Hello," Zara called, trying to mimic the casual human greeting she had observed countless times. Olivia, startled, turned toward her. "Good morning," she replied, looking confused. "I don't think we've met," Zara improvised. "I'm new in town, just arrived. I was hoping to find some herbs. Are you familiar with the area?" Olivia smiled. "I am actually. Olivia, I gather medicinal plants most mornings." "Perfect," Zara said. "I heard the best specimens grow on the north side of the valley, pointing away from the Drakari ship. Would you mind showing me?" Olivia hesitated, glancing toward the meadow. "I usually start here, but please," Zara insisted. "I won't take much of your time." Something in Zara's urgency seemed to register with Olivia. The human woman nodded. "Sure, why not? The North Valley has better yarrow anyway." As they walked away, Zara glanced back. The Drakari were watching, but had lowered their weapons. She had prevented an encounter for now, but this solution was temporary. Over the next hour, Zara accompanied Olivia gathering plants while steering her progressively farther from the landing site. She learned that Olivia was a healer in the human town using traditional plant knowledge combined with modern medicine. "I should get back soon," Olivia eventually said. "I have patients waiting, but you should visit my clinic sometime. Tell me your name again." Zara hesitated. "My name is—" She paused, realizing her camouflage was fading. She needed to end this interaction quickly. "Zara. Just Zara. Am not staying long." Just passing through, Olivia looked at her strangely for a moment as if sensing something unusual, but she simply nodded. "Well, Zara, it's been nice meeting you. Thanks for the company this morning." Once Olivia was safely away, Zara retreated to her shelter, a small hidden structure disguised as an abandoned storage unit on the outskirts of town. Inside, she activated her long-range communicator. Drakari nearly encountered a human. She reported, "I prevented contact but cannot maintain this intervention. Please expedite assistance." The reply was not encouraging. "Situation understood. No change in timeline possible. Continue. Observation." Avoid personal risk. Zara paced the small space, frustrated. She could not protect the entire town alone, and her camouflage needed 12 hours to recharge. Yet the thought of the Drakari harming humans, or worse, exposing them to the reality of alien life, prematurely troubled her deeply. The Lyrian mission on Earth was observation only. Humans were considered a developing species, not ready for galactic contact. Strict protocols prevented interference in their natural development, but the Drakari had no such restrictions. As night fell, Zara returned to her observation point. The Drakari ship remained in the meadow, with equipment now forming a perimeter around it. The aliens were conducting a more extensive survey than she initially thought, taking soil core samples, setting up atmospheric monitors, and collecting plant specimens. Zara focused her enhanced vision on their collection containers. The plants they gathered with special care were common weeds, nothing that seemed valuable, but the Drakari handled them with protective gear, suggesting they contained something of interest. The night deepened and Zara continued her watch. The town slept peacefully, unaware of the visitors in their midst, until a new sound reached her sensitive ears: the rumble of an approaching vehicle. A human vehicle, a truck, bounced along the dirt road toward the meadow. Inside was a single human male. Zara recognized him as the local sheriff, Ryan Mills, who often patrolled the outskirts of town at night. The Drakari heard the approach too. They quickly gathered their equipment and retreated to their ship, but they would not be able to take off before the human arrived. Zara had a split-second decision to make: follow orders and stay hidden, potentially allowing first contact between humans and Drakari, or intervene again, risking her mission, her career, and possibly her life. The truck headlights swept the meadow, catching the black ship in their beams. The vehicle stopped. The sheriff stepped out, flashlight in hand, calling out, "Hello, anyone there?" The Drakari ship door opened. Zara moved. She ran toward the human vehicle, her camouflage still depleted, her blue skin and alien features fully visible in the moonlight. Sheriff Mills turned his light toward the sound of her approach. His expression changed from curiosity to shock. "What the Zara?" He began, raising his radio. Zara reached him, placing her hand on the device. "Please," she said in perfect English. "I mean no harm, but you must leave now." Sheriff stared at her blue skin, pointed ears, and violet eyes, for a moment frozen in disbelief. Then his training took over. He reached for his weapon. Zara raised her hands. "I am not here to hurt you," she insisted, "but they are." She pointed toward the Drakari ship, where red-skinned figures now stood watching. The sheriff followed her gesture, his flashlight illuminating the horned aliens. His hand trembled on his weapon. "There are more of you," he whispered. "I am not with them." Zara explained quickly. "They are dangerous. I am trying to protect you. Please trust me. You need to leave now." Perhaps it was the genuine fear in her voice, or some human instinct for truth. But Sheriff Mills lowered his weapon slowly. "What are you?" he asked. Zara knew she was violating every protocol but could see no alternative. "I am a researcher. My people have watched Earth for centuries. We mean no harm, but they, the Drakari, they take what they want. Please, I can explain everything later, but now you must go. Warn, no. One, show no fear. Just leave. The sheriff looked between Zara and the advancing Drakari. Then with a decisive nod, he returned to his truck. I expect that explanation, he said before driving away quickly. Zara turned to face the Drakari alone. Her communication device buzzed with urgent messages from her superiors, but she ignored them. The Drakari leader approached tall and imposing. You reveal yourself to protect humans. Lyrian? He said in the common galactic language. How interesting. Zara stood her ground. You violate treaties by coming here. This planet is protected. The Drakari made a dismissive gesture. We take only plants. Harmless research. You frightened away my research subject. Zara lied quickly. That human was part of my behavioral study. The Drakari studied her with yellow eyes. We did not know Lyrians had claimed this human for study. Zara paced inside her small shelter, her mind racing. She had broken the most sacred rule of Lyrian observation. Never reveal yourself to subjects. The consequences would be severe, likely ending with her immediate recall and possible exile from the Kyo Research Corps, but there was no time to worry about that now. The Drakari had agreed to relocate their sampling, but Zara doubted they would leave Earth entirely. Something about those common plants interested them enough to risk treaty violations. Her communication device chimed urgently. She had been ignoring messages from her superiors for hours. Taking a deep breath, she answered. Commander Naira, stern and imposing, appeared as a hologram. Your camouflage was detected offline during human interaction. Explain immediately. Zara straightened. I had to intervene. Commander Drakari were about to encounter humans. The commander frowned. This is unacceptable. You know protocol. Observation only. The Drakari were armed. Zara protested. They might have harmed the human. That is not your concern. Commander Naira replied coldly. Your assignment was clear. Document do not interfere. A replacement observer has been dispatched. You will return to the mothership immediately for evaluation. Zara felt her heart sink. A replacement meant disgrace. 3 years of careful work ended in failure. I understand, Commander, she said quietly. The hologram flickered. One more thing. Did any human see your true form? Zara hesitated, knowing her answer would determine her fate. A lie might save her career, but something stopped her. Yes, Commander, one human. The local law enforcement officer. The commander's expression hardened. This is a serious breach. Zara, prepare for immediate extraction. Your mission is terminated. The hologram disappeared, leaving Zara alone with her thoughts. She should pack her few possessions and await transport to the orbiting mothership. Her career was over. A knock at the door froze her in place. No one knew about this shelter. No one should be knocking. Another knock, more insistent. Zara, I know you're in there. It's Sheriff Mills. Zara felt panic rise. The human had tracked her down, but how? She considered ignoring him, but realized it was pointless. He had already seen her. She opened the door. Sheriff Ryan Mills stood there, hand resting casually on his holstered weapon. His expression was controlled, but Zara could sense his tension. You promised an explanation, he said simply. Zara glanced around. The street was empty for now, but anyone could pass by. I did, she acknowledged. Please come inside. The sheriff hesitated, then stepped into the small shelter. Zara closed the door behind him. He took in the strange technology and sparse living conditions. So you're really not from around here? Zara almost smiled at the understatement. No, I am not. My people are called Lyrians. We have been observing Earth for centuries. The sheriff removed his hat, running a hand through his hair. I always figured we weren't alone in the universe. But knowing for sure is something else. Zara studied him. Human reactions to aliens in their entertainment varied wildly from fear to friendship. His calm response surprised her. You seem very composed. He shrugged. I've seen a lot as sheriff. Nothing quite like this, but I learned long. How's that panicking never helps a situation. He focused on her face. So why are you here? And who were those other aliens? Zara explained as simply as she could about Lyrian research protocols and the Drakari incursion. She described the delicate balance of treaties that protected developing worlds like Earth. So your people just watch us, take notes. Never say hello. Mills summarized. That seems cold. Zara had never considered it from a human perspective. Before we established these protocols, there were incidents, civilizations disrupted by premature contact wars collapse. Some species cannot handle knowing they are not alone or not the most advanced life forms. Mills considered this. I guess I can understand that. So those others, Drakari, you said, they don't follow these rules. They follow their own interests. Zara said they are traders primarily. Sometimes they take resources. Are they dangerous, Mills? Asked. Zara chose her words carefully. They can be, but they rarely attack directly. They prefer to manipulate or bargain. What do they want here? I believe they are interested in certain plants. They collected samples very carefully. Mills frowned. Just plants. Why travel across space for weeds? That is what concerns me, Zara admitted. If they want Earth plants, there must be something valuable about them. Something we haven't discovered. The sheriff was silent for a moment, processing everything. Then I need to report this call in the feds. Maybe the military. No. Zara moved quickly to block his path. You cannot tell anyone. Please, both my people and the Drakari have technology far beyond yours. Any attempt by your military to capture or threaten either of us could end very badly. But I can't just ignore aliens landing in my town. Mills argued. Zara understood his position. Sheriff, I'm already being recalled for breaking protocol by revealing myself to you. If your authorities become involved, things will escalate quickly. The Drakari might panic and use weapons you cannot defend against. Please, give me time to handle this through proper channels. Mills studied her face, looking for deception. What proper channels? You said you're being recalled. My replacement will arrive soon, Zara explained. They will have authority to request intervention from our mothership, and that will happen when exactly? Zara looked away. I expect the transport ship in 30 Earth hours. Mills let out a frustrated breath. So I just pretend I didn't see horned aliens collecting weeds for a day and a half. Essentially, yes, Zara confirmed. The sheriff put his hat back on. Against my better judgment, I'll give you until tomorrow night. Then I do what I need to do to protect my town. Thank you, Zara said with genuine relief. Mills turned to leave, then paused. How did you find me last night in the meadow? Zara hesitated. I have been observing your town for 3 years. Sheriff Mills? Including your patrol patterns. His expression changed. 3 years. Watching us, Zara suddenly realized how this might sound to a human. Yes, but only for research, understanding human social structures, development patterns, completely benign. Mills shook his head. This conversation keeps getting weirder, he muttered as he left, alone again. Zara knew she needed a plan. Her replacement would follow protocol strictly. No intervention. No contact. Humans would be left unprotected against whatever the Drakari planned, and Zara herself would be extracted. Her research confiscated, her career ended, unless a dangerous idea formed in her mind. What if she didn't wait for extraction? What if she tracked the Drakari herself, discovered their true purpose, and then reported to Commander Naira? Success might mitigate her punishment, and more importantly, she could ensure the humans remained safe. Decision made. Zara gathered her essential equipment. The tracking device would help her locate the Drakari ship. Her portable analyzer could identify any compounds in the plants they collected. Her emergency beacon would signal for help if needed. She slipped out after nightfall, moving silently through town shadows. Her species' natural ability to see in darkness made navigation easy. She headed toward the meadow where the Drakari had first landed, scanning for traces of their engine emissions. The readings led away from town toward the mountains. Following carefully, Zara tracked the emissions for miles until she spotted their ship nestled in a remote valley. The Drakari had established a larger operation here. Collection equipment surrounded the ship, and several aliens worked methodically harvesting plants. Zara observed from a distance, using her enhanced vision to study their work. The plants looked identical to those from the meadow common species with no known special properties, yet the Drakari handled them with such care. A sound behind her made Zara freeze. Footsteps, human footsteps. She turned slowly. Sheriff Mills stood there. Flashlight dimmed. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "Neither should you," he replied. Following alien invaders alone seemed like a bad idea, Zara frowned. "How did you find me?" Mills pointed to his phone. "Been tracking your shelter for weeks. Something about it always seemed off. Always showed up as a strange electrical anomaly on our new township grid sensors. When you left, I followed." Zara realized her equipment must have created a signature detectable even by human technology. "A serious oversight. You need to leave," she insisted. "This is dangerous." Mills shook his head. "Not happening. This is my jurisdiction. Those aliens are here illegally by your own admission. I have every right to investigate." Zara knew arguing would only waste time. "Fine, stay behind me and be quiet." They watched the Drakari for nearly an hour. The aliens had set up a processing station extracting something from the plants. A green liquid dripped into collection vials. "What are they doing?" Mills whispered. Zara focused her scanner on the liquid. "Analyzing," she murmured. "The compound is unfamiliar. Something in the cellular structure." One of the Drakari suddenly looked up in their direction, his horned head turning toward the hillside where they hid. "They sensed us." Zara hissed. "We need to move." Too late. A light from the ship swept over the hillside, illuminating them. The Drakari shouted, alerting the others. Mills reached for his weapon, but Zara grabbed his arm. "No. They have energy weapons. Your pistol is useless." "Run." They scrambled down the back of the hill as Drakari voices called out behind them. Zara led Mills toward a dense forest, knowing the thick vegetation might confuse Drakari scanners. "Do they have ships that fly?" "Like small craft?" Mills asked between breaths. "Yes." Zara confirmed. "Pursuit vessels," as if summoned by his question. A small craft rose from behind the Drakari ship. Its lights sweeping the landscape. "We can't outrun that," Mills observed. The communication device hummed softly as Zara finished her message detailing everything she had discovered about the Drakari operation. She included the plant analysis data and emphasized their aggressive pursuit, which violated galactic treaties. "Your people might not respond favorably," Mills observed from across the room. "They already want to recall you for talking to me." Zara nodded grimly. "True, but the Drakari threat changes the equation. My superiors value Earth stability above all else. They will want to prevent any disruption to human society." She sent the message, watching anxiously as the device indicated transmission in progress. Then something unexpected happened. The screen flashed. "Red message blocked," came the automated response. "Orbital communication shield detected." Zara's heart raced with sudden fear. Orbital shield. The only explanation was that the Drakari had deployed technology to prevent any messages leaving Earth atmosphere. They were isolating the planet. "This is not good," she whispered. Mills leaned forward. "What does that mean?" "The Drakari have established a communication barrier around Earth," she explained. "They don't want anyone reporting their activities. Something big is happening." "Mills, much bigger than I thought." "Mills, process this information, then call for backup some other way." "Don't you have emergency protocols?" Zara accessed her devices. "Emergency functions. The short-range communicator might still work to reach any Lyrian observers in other regions, but as she activated it, only static greeted her. "They're blocking all non-human frequencies," she realized. "No wonder my replacement hasn't contacted me. They can't, so we're on our own." Mills concluded. The reality of their situation settled heavily on Zara. She was cut off from her people on a planet where she didn't belong with humans who weren't supposed to know she existed, facing an unknown Drakari threat. "We need to understand what they're doing," she said finally. "Why those specific plants? What compound they're extracting? Only then can we determine their true purpose." Mills thought for a moment. "I might know someone who can help." Dr. Olivia Carter. Zara recognized the name. The woman she'd intercepted in the meadow. She's not just a healer. Mills explained she's a botanical biochemist. Brilliant scientist who chose to work in a small town after burning out at some big research facility. She studies plant compounds for medical applications. If anyone can identify what makes these plants special, it's her. Zara hesitated. Involving another human violated every protocol. But protocols seemed meaningless now, with communications blocked and Drakari hunters searching for them. Will she help us without telling others, she asked. Mills smiled slightly. Olivia keeps to herself. Not big on authority. She won't run to the government. If anything, she avoids them. Zara made her decision. Let's go. But I need to maintain some disguise. Her camouflage technology was still recharging, but she found a human coat with a hood in Mill's closet. This will help, she said, pulling it on. They waited until deep night before venturing out. Mills drove his personal vehicle rather than the sheriff's truck to avoid attention. The small house at the edge of town was surrounded by gardens. Even in the darkness, Zara could see hundreds of plant species growing in careful arrangement. Mills knocked softly at the door. A moment later, light spilled out as Olivia Carter opened it. She wore pajamas with a laboratory coat hastily thrown over. Them Ryan, she said, recognizing the sheriff. It's nearly midnight. What? Her words stopped as she noticed Zara standing behind him despite the hood shadowing her features. You're the woman from the meadow, Olivia said. But there's something. No time to explain, Mills interrupted. We need your help. No questions asked. Can we come in? Olivia hesitated only briefly before stepping aside. Once inside, Zara removed her hood, revealing her blue skin and alien features. Olivia gasped, her hand flying to her mouth, but instead of fear, her expression quickly transformed to amazement. You, she whispered, extraordinary, am Zara. Zara said simply, I am not human. As you can see, Olivia moved closer, studying Zara's features with scientific curiosity rather than fear. Xenobiology was never my specialty, she said with a small laugh. But I always hoped. Mills interrupted the moment. Dr. Carter, we need your scientific expertise. Something urgent. He quickly explained their discovery of the Drakari plant harvesting operation. Olivia listened intently, asking sharp questions. When he finished, she was already moving toward her home laboratory. Bring me a sample of these plants, she said. Mills produced a small bag. I collected these while we were observing. Same type, they were processing. Olivia's laboratory occupied what should have been a dining room complex. Equipment filled the space alongside potted plants and botanical specimens. Zara recognized some of the technology as surprisingly advanced for earth science. Olivia worked quickly, preparing slides and running tests. Zara watched, impressed by the humans' efficiency. Despite primitive equipment compared to Lyrian standards, Olivia moved with practiced precision. This is fascinating, Olivia muttered. After 30 minutes of testing, these are common dandelions, but something about them is different. The cellular structure has been subtly altered. How? Zara asked, moving closer. Olivia adjusted a microscope. It appears the plants contain elevated levels of a compound similar to neurotransmitters, specifically targeting receptors associated with suggestibility. Mills frowned. Suggestibility? Like mind control? Not exactly, Olivia corrected. More like increasing openness to suggestion, reducing resistance to ideas. Subtle but potentially powerful in the right concentration. Zara felt a chill. These plants don't naturally produce such compounds at these levels. No, Olivia confirmed. Something has stimulated this production, the soil perhaps, or selective breeding. She ran another test. The compound appears most concentrated in plants from this specific region, and it seems to be increasing over time. Almost as if something is changing the plants. Zara finished the thought. But why would the Drakari want such compounds? Mills leaned against a counter. What if they were planning to introduce these compounds into the water supply? Or the atmosphere? Zara considered the possibility. Drakari are traders primarily. They seek advantage in negotiations. If humans were exposed to These compounds, they would be more likely to agree to whatever the Drakari proposed. Olivia concluded, they're preparing for first contact. On their terms, this violated numerous treaties. Zara explained, manipulating a species before official contact, making them more compliant. It was forbidden for good reason. We need to stop them. Mills stated. Simply, Zara appreciated his directness, but the reality was more complicated. Even if they understood the Drakari plan, they were 3 individuals against. Advanced aliens with superior technology, I need equipment, Olivia said suddenly. All 3 of us need to go to my research facility. Mills looked surprised. You mean your old lab? The university. Olivia nodded. I still have access. The equipment there is much more sophisticated. We can analyze these compounds properly. Maybe even develop a counter-agent. Zara hesitated. If we leave town, the Drakari might accelerate their timeline, but staying here limits our options. Olivia argued. We can't fight what we don't fully understand. Mills made the decision. We'll go tonight, less chance of being spotted. My car has dark windows. The drive to the university took 3 hours. Zara remained hunched in the back seat, hood covering her features. They avoided main highways, taking back roads through forests and small towns. The university campus was mostly deserted when they arrived, the science building dark, except for security lighting. Olivia led them through side entrances using her key card. This time of year, hardly anyone uses the labs, she explained. Most researchers are doing fieldwork. The laboratory she accessed was large and well-equipped. Zara recognized some of the instruments as similar to those used in basic Lyrian research facilities. Olivia immediately began setting up experiments, directing Zara and Mills to assist her. They worked through the night, analyzing the strange compounds in the plants and searching for ways to neutralize them. By morning, Olivia had made significant progress. The compound itself is remarkable, she explained. It enhances neuroplasticity, making the brain more receptive to new information while reducing critical analysis. Could the Drakari be using it on themselves? Zara wondered. Perhaps to help them adapt to Earth conditions. Olivia shook her head. The molecular structure specifically targets human neurochemistry. It wouldn't affect Drakari physiology at all, based on what you've told me about their biology. This was designed for humans. The implications were disturbing. The Drakari had been planning this for some time, studying human biology, developing compounds that would make first contact go in their favor. How widespread is this? Mills asked. Olivia brought up satellite imagery of the region. Ivy mapped concentrations based on our samples, she said, pointing to colored areas on the screen. The highest levels are centered around your town, Sheriff, but its spreading soil and water samples show traces up to 50 miles away, and it's accelerating, Zara noted, looking at the data. Each generation of plants produces more compound than the last. How do we stop it? Mills asked the practical question on all their minds. Olivia hesitated in working on an agent that might neutralize the compound. But deploying it across the affected region would be challenging. Zara studied the equipment around them. The Lyrians had technology that could help, but she had no access to it. Cut off from her people. Then she remembered something in her emergency kit. They drove back toward town in tense silence, Mills taking back roads to avoid detection. Olivia worked frantically in the passenger seat, modifying Zara's nanites with the portable equipment shed brought from the lab. In the back seat, Zara monitored for Drakari signals using her adapted scanner. There's significant activity near the mountain base, Zara reported. The transport ship is fully deployed. Energy readings are high. What exactly are we walking into? Mills asked, keeping his eyes on the winding forest road. Zara studied the readings. Based on the equipment signature, they appear to be setting up atmospheric processors. These could distribute the compound across a wide area. How wide? Olivia asked without looking up from her work. Potentially hundreds of miles, Zara admitted. The technology is designed for planetary terraforming, but could be adapted for compound dispersal. Mills' grip tightened on the steering wheel. That would affect major cities. Not just our town, Zara nodded grimly. It appears their plan is more ambitious than we thought. They might be preparing for large-scale contact. Olivia connected 2 small devices. Almost done, she said. These modified nanites should disrupt their energy systems temporarily. If we can deploy them near their main power source, it could buy us time. Mills turned onto a dirt road heading toward the mountain range. We need a plan for getting close enough. The scanner in Zara's hands beeped suddenly. She frowned. Security perimeter, she explained. They have detection equipment set up in a 5-mile radius around their base. Can they detect humans or just aliens like you? Mills asked. Both, Zara said. The technology recognizes any biological signature approaching the perimeter, so we can't just walk. Olivia concluded. Mills pulled the car to a stop beside a small stream. We need another approach, Zara thought for a moment. Perhaps we can use their focus on biology against them, she suggested. The scanner detects living organisms, but not necessarily inanimate objects, Olivia caught on quickly. We send the nanites in without us. Exactly. Zara confirmed. The stream. She pointed to the flowing water. It leads directly toward their base. The water passes through their perimeter and into the valley where they've set up operations. Mills studied the terrain. They'd still detect us if we get close enough to release the nanites into the water. Not necessarily, Zara said. My equipment includes a small drone used for sample collection. It could carry the nanites to the stream beyond their perimeter. Olivia looked thoughtful. It might work, but they'd likely detect the drone itself. Zara had considered this. I can program it to move when their scanning sweeps are at their furthest point. They operate on predictable patterns they set up at the edge of the forest. Zara preparing her drone while Olivia finalized the nanite programming. Mills kept watch using binoculars to scan the distant ridgeline for any sign of Drakari patrols. There, Zara said finally, the drone is ready. She had attached a small container filled with the modified nanites. The tiny flying device, barely larger than a hummingbird, hovered beside her. Olivia handed her the control unit. The nanites are programmed to target their power systems, specifically the conversion matrices that would be used in atmospheric processors. They should cause cascading failures without permanent damage. Zara looked at her surprised. You understand Drakari technology that well? Olivia smiled slightly. I made educated guesses based on your descriptions and universal engineering principles. Energy systems follow certain laws regardless of origin. Zara felt new respect for the human scientist. Ready? She asked. Mills nodded from his position. No movement on. The ridge were clear. Zara activated the drone, guiding it toward the stream. The tiny device moved in short bursts, synchronized with the scanning sweeps she detected from the Drakari perimeter. On her display, she watched its progress, following the winding path of the water. It's approaching the perimeter, she whispered. Almost, the drone passed the invisible boundary, its signature masked by the moving water. The small device continued following the stream toward the Drakari base. On Zara's screen, they could see the massive transport ship and surrounding equipment. The atmospheric processors were indeed being assembled, large towers with dispersal arrays. The drone reached its target position, hovering over a wider section of the stream. Zara activated the release mechanism. The nanite container opened, dropping its contents into the flowing water. Now we wait, she said. The nanites would be carried downstream directly into the Drakari operation, where they would seek out and infiltrate power systems. According to Olivia's programming, they would then cause systematic malfunctions in any technology designed to process or distribute the plant compounds. How long? Olivia asked. Difficult to estimate, Zara admitted. It depends on how quickly the water circulates through their systems, perhaps an hour. A sudden sound made them all freeze. Engines, Mills hissed, looking up. A Drakari scout craft passed overhead, moving quickly toward their base. They may have detected something, Zara warned. We should move back. They retreated deeper into the forest, Mills leading them through dense undergrowth away from the stream. A distant explosion reached their ears, followed by another. It's working, Olivia whispered. The nanites must have reached their power system. Zara checked her scanner. Energy fluctuations throughout their base, she confirmed. The atmospheric processors are shutting down. Mills looked grimly satisfied. Good, now what? Before Zara could answer, her scanner alert sounded. Drakari craft approaching. Fast run, Mills ordered. They sprinted through the forest as the sound of engines grew louder. Behind them, trees splintered as energy weapons fired from the pursuing craft. Zara stumbled on a root, Mills catching her arm and pulling her forward. This way, he shouted, leading them toward a rocky outcropping. They ducked into a narrow space between boulders, pressing against the stone as the Drakari craft passed overhead, its searchlights sweeping the forest floor. They know we're responsible. Zara panted. They must have detected the drone. Olivia wiped dirt from her face. We bought some time, but they'll repair the damage eventually. Mills peered out from their hiding place. I think they're circling back. Zara made a decision. We need to split up, she said. They're primarily tracking me. My biomarkers are distinct from humans. No, Mills protested immediately. We stay together. Zara shook her head. I'm putting you both in danger. Every moment you're near me increases your risk. If I lead them away, you two can. Return to town, organize whatever defense is possible. Olivia looked torn between logic and loyalty. She has a point, Ryan, she said softly. We need to warn people, prepare them. Mill's expression hardened. The sheriff. It's my job to protect everyone. That includes you. Zara felt something unfamiliar, a warmth spreading through her chest at his words. These humans continued to surprise her with their loyalty. However, I have the best chance of evading them. I was trained for covert observation before. Mills could argue further. The scanner beeped again. Zara checked it, her eyes widening. New signal, she said. It doesn't match Drakari patterns. What is it? Olivia asked. Zara felt hope rise. Lyrian. The communication shield must be weakening. The nanites affected, more systems than we anticipated. She activated her emergency beacon, transmitting their location. A response came almost immediately. Extraction team en route. Hold position. Mills looked at the small device. Your people, yes. Zara confirmed. They're coming. Lyrian security forces. Relief showed briefly on his face before concern returned. What will they do about the Drakari? Standard protocol would be containment and removal. Zara explained. They'll neutralize the threat and remove all evidence of non-human presence. And us? Olivia asked quietly. What about humans who know? Zara couldn't meet their eyes. Protocol is clear, she said. Memory adjustment is mandatory in cases of exposure. Mill's expression hardened. So after everything, we just forget all of this. Zara began, then stopped as her scanner alert sounded again. Drakari forces closing in. They must have detected the Lyrian transmission. No time for discussion, Mills said. We're moving. They ran again, deeper into the forest. The sound of pursuit grew louder. The Drakari were on foot now, tracking them through the trees. Ahead, a clearing opened up, revealing the valley below. Nowhere to hide, Mills muttered. A blast of energy hit a tree beside them, sending splinters flying. Olivia cried out as one cut. Her arm. Mills pulled her down behind a fallen log. Zara crouched beside them, her scanner showing multiple Drakari signatures approaching. The first Drakari appeared at the edge of the clearing. Tall, reddish skin gleaming in the sunlight, horns curving. From his forehead, the alien held an energy weapon pointed directly at them. We're trapped, Mills whispered. His hand moved toward his service weapon. Though he knew it would be ineffective, Zara made her decision in that moment. She stood, slowly rising from behind the log with her hands raised. The Drakari commander, she recognized him from their first encounter, smiled, showing sharp teeth. The Lyrian researcher, he said in the common galactic language. You have caused us considerable trouble. I know what you're doing, Zara replied in the same language. The compound, the plants. It's treaty violation. The Drakari shrugged slightly. Treaties change. Opportunities arise. We simply seek advantage in first contact. Humans will still make their own choices, just more favorable ones for us. He gestured with his weapon. Step aside. The humans will come with us. Never. Zara stated firmly, placing herself between the Drakari and her friends. The commander sighed. Such emotional attachment to research subjects. Lyrian's always become too involved. He raised his weapon. But we have schedules to maintain. Zara held the small device in her palm, feeling its weight. Not just physically, but in all it represented. She looked at Mills and Olivia. Their expressions filled with hope and uncertainty. These humans had risked everything to help her to protect their world from a threat they barely understood. They had shown courage, loyalty, and intelligence far beyond what any Lyrian research had documented. Observer, the officer called again, approaching. We must proceed. Now Zara made her decision in that moment, a choice that went against everything she had been taught, against all protocols and expectations. She activated Olivia's device. A soft pulse emitted from it, invisible to the eye but disrupting the sensitive Lyrian technology nearby. The officer paused mid-step, his communication device crackling with interference. What is happening? He demanded. Zara stepped forward smoothly. Technical interference from Drakari systems, she explained. Moving closer to the officer, she continued speaking in their language while subtly positioning herself between him and the humans. The planetary field has created instabilities in our equipment. Recommend immediate containment of Drakari forces before escalation. The officer hesitated, clearly conflicted, but protocols require human subject processing. I will handle the human subjects, Zara assured him. They require special handling due to extended exposure. Their knowledge is incomplete and confused. A standard approach would be ineffective. The disruption from Olivia's device created enough uncertainty that the officer nodded briefly. Very well, Observer Kiv. Complete processing and report to extraction point within 2 hours. We will secure Drakari technology and personnel. The officer returned to the ship where his team was loading the restrained Drakari. The commander shot Zara a knowing look but remained silent, perhaps understanding more than she wanted. Zara turned back to Mills and Olivia, speaking urgently. We have limited time. She said, interference will only last temporarily. They will realize something is wrong when I don't report for extraction. What exactly are you doing? Mills asked, though his expression suggested he already knew. Breaking every rule in Lyrian history, Zara admitted, and I need your help to do it. Olivia smiled, a mixture of excitement and concern. You're staying if you'll help me. Zara confirmed, I can never contact my people again. I would be abandoning everything I've known. But you'd be choosing something new. Mills finished, his expression softening. The Lyrian ship hummed above them as the security team completed their work. The Drakari were contained, their equipment being dismantled by efficient Lyrian technology. Soon, all evidence of the alien presence would be removed from Earth except for me. Zara said, Olivia was already planning. I can alter your appearance temporarily. She said, my lab has equipment. The same technology we use for cellular modification could adapt your skin pigmentation, make you appear more human. And I can create identification documents, Mills added. Benefits of being sheriff in a small town. Some things don't get proper oversight. Zara felt overwhelming gratitude. You would do this risk? So much, Mills shrugged slightly. Been risking my life for 2 days now. What's a little identity fraud after alien invasions? The Lyrian officer called from the ship collection. Complete Observer Kiv final scans and departure in 30 minutes. Zara acknowledged with a gesture, then turned back to her friends. We need to move quickly, she said. The effects of Olivia's device will wear off soon. When I don't report, they will search. They retreated into the forest, moving rapidly away from the clearing. Mills led them through paths. Only locals would know. Eventually they reached his vehicle, hidden where they had left it earlier. As they drove, Zara watched the sky through the rear window. The Lyrian ship hovered over the mountain, completing its work. Soon, it would be gone, along with all evidence of the Drakari threat. Earth would continue its natural development path, protected by treaties and protocols that had existed for centuries, except for one significant deviation: Zara herself. They reached Olivia's home laboratory, where she immediately began work. Her hands moved with practiced precision as she modified cellular restructuring equipment normally used for plant research. "This will be temporary," she explained as she prepared injections, only affecting pigmentation and minor physical characteristics. "Your basic structure will remain the same, but it should be enough to avoid immediate recognition." Mills made calls arranging for documents creating a background story. Every small town had undocumented residents, people who slipped through bureaucratic cracks. He knew how to navigate those systems. Zara watched them work these humans who had so quickly accepted her into their lives, offering protection and new identity without hesitation. It was unprecedented in her experience. Everything she had studied about humans suggested they feared difference, distrusted the unknown. Yet here they were, proving every assumption wrong. The cellular modification was uncomfortable, but effective. Zara's blue skin gradually shifted to a human tone. Her most prominent alien features slightly altered. Her height could not be changed, but as Mills pointed out, tall women exist. No one questions that. By nightfall, the transformation was complete. Zara looked in the mirror, barely recognizing herself. The blue Lyrian researcher was gone, replaced by someone who could pass as human, at least to casual observation. Mills arrived with documents: birth certificate, social security card, basic identification. Olivia found clothes that would fit her tall frame. And together they created a story. Zara Lynn, distant cousin of Olivia's, visiting from overseas. Botanical researcher specializing in rare plant species. A perfect explanation for her presence in a small town, her occasional strange behaviors, and her close association with Olivia Knight deepened, and Zara felt the weight of her choice. Hours had passed. The Lyrian extraction team would know by now that she had gone rogue. Protocols would be activated, searches conducted, but Earth was large, and with her biomarkers altered, she might avoid detection. At least long enough to establish her new life. "You should rest." Mills suggested. "You've been through a lot." Zara nodded, suddenly aware of her exhaustion. The emotional and physical toll of the past days catching up with her. Olivia showed her to a spare room, simple but comfortable. But sleep eluded her. As she lay in darkness, Zara found herself reviewing her decision, the enormity of what she had done, abandoning her people, her mission, her entire life for what? A chance to live among humans, to continue experiencing their complexity directly, rather than through the lens of a researcher. A soft knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Mills stood there, concern evident on his face. "Thought, you might still be awake," he said. "May I come in?" Zara nodded, sitting up in the unfamiliar bed. He sat in a chair nearby. "We need to talk about what's next," he said. "Your people. Will they come looking for you?" Zara considered this. "They will search initially, yes. But resources for retrieving a single observer are limited. The protocols exist to prevent contamination of developing worlds. But now that the Drakari threat is contained, the priority will be maintaining Earth's isolation, not finding me. And, if they do find you, they would extract me," Zara said honestly. "Possibly apply memory adjustment." Mill's expression grew serious. "I won't let that happen." Zara felt that strange warmth again at his protective instinct. But the truth is, she admitted Lyrians respect choice above all. "It is our highest value. If I truly choose to remain there, are obscure protocols that might allow it, though none have been invoked for centuries." Hope flickered in Mill's eyes. "So there's precedent, very ancient," she cautioned. "But yes, Lyrians who chose integration with other species long ago before the current protocols." He smiled slightly. "So you're not completely crazy, just mostly crazy." Zara found herself smiling in return, an expression that still felt strange on her face. "I believe that is accurate." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment before Mills spoke again. "You gave up everything. Your home, your career, your people." Why Zara had been asking herself the same question. The answer came slowly. "In 3 years of observation, I learned more about humanity than all previous Lyrian research combined. But always from a distance, always separate protocol. demanded isolation, but isolation created incomplete understanding. She looked at him directly. You and Olivia showed me something no research could capture, the true nature of humanity. Your courage, your adaptability, your willingness to accept difference when it matters, your capacity for friendship, even with someone entirely unlike you. These qualities cannot be properly studied from a distance, they must be experienced. Mills nodded understanding. Something happened, then hesitated before asking, "What will you do now?" "Research us up close." Zara considered this. "No," she decided. "I think I am finished with research. I want to live, to experience, to contribute." She gestured to the window where Olivia's gardens were visible in moonlight. "These plants, your botanical diversity, the compounds they contain, they have potential beyond what either Lyrians or Drakari imagined." I could help Olivia. With my knowledge of molecular structures and her understanding of Earth, biology. Mills smiled. "That sounds like a good start." Morning came with soft light filtering through unfamiliar curtains. Zara woke disoriented, before remembering everything. Her choice, her new reality, her new appearance. She found Olivia in the kitchen preparing something that smelled unfamiliar but pleasant food. She realized Lyrians consumed nutrients differently. This would be another adjustment. "Sleep well?" Olivia asked. "As well as could be expected," Zara replied.